The movie opens up in the busy market of Bogotá, Colombia. There are traffic jams everywhere, and we see random people selling stuff to make a living. Outside the perimeter of Belco Industries, armed guards are thoroughly checking the IDs and vehicles of the employees. The CEO Barry is astonished that he has asked for identification as well. One of the employees, speaking the native language, is sent home by the armed guards. After the strict check back up, all the workers get inside the building and prepare for work. Oblivious to them, all the rooms, even the toilets, are constantly being monitored through cameras. Danny is a newcomer to Belco, and so she is being briefed about the new facilities, including the tracer implanted on the back of her head. She is told that the tracer is for her protection against kidnapping. We get to realize that Belco is a worldwide organization that recruits American specialists to work in South America. Somewhere else, the workplace is creep. Wendell ceaselessly gazes at the delightful Leandra and doesn't stop in any event when she sees him. Inevitably, a geeky fellow named Mike moves toward her, and the two beginning making out. In any case, Leandra out of nowhere stops and shouts that she just traversed a separation and doesn't have any desire to rush things. Afterward, Mike goes into his collaborator Terry's room and asks about why just a couple of individuals are available today. Terry doesn't have the foggiest idea about the genuine explanation either, yet he accepts that local people didn't make an appearance since they were sent home by the watchman at the door. A befuddled Mike then, at that point, goes to his room and gazes dubiously at the storage close to his structure. He calls office security even to ask about the bizarre conditions. However, even the last option can't really understand. Out of nowhere, a secretive voice on the radio cautions everyone in the structure to quit working. It says that there are 80 people in the building and most of them will be dead within 8 hours if the given task is not completed. The task is to eliminate any 2 employees within 30 minutes, otherwise worst consequences will be faced. Hearing this, everybody starts panicking and crying in fear. Their worries grow even more when they find out that the telephones are dead and the cell networks are jammed. Left with no options, Mike tells everyone to evacuate the floor calmly. But as they are doing so, reinforced metal plates suddenly seal every door and window from outside. Now everyone inside the office starts realizing that the threat is real. As they are freaking out, Mike calmly tells the maintenance workers Bud and Lunny to melt the metal with a blowtorch. However, even after this, the doors are unaffected. Some workers rush to the roof to check if they can alert anyone outside the premises. Down in the hall, the CEO Barry tries to pacify his team by explaining that someone might be playing a prank on them. But Mike is convinced as he thinks the situation may be serious. He suspects that the dead telephones, armed guards, and the movement of guards on the old hangar are all part of a bigger plot. At the roof, a woman notices an armed guard inside the guard post. She hurriedly informs other staff members and calls them to shout for help. The guard hears them and looks towards the roof, but he completely ignores them as if nothing has happened. The stoner of the group, Marty, believes that all of this is a psychological test, so he tells everyone on the roof to remain calm. However, right after he finishes talking, a female worker's head explodes. Zoinks! Then 3 other workers perish in the same fashion. Down in the lobby, the terrified staff assumes that someone is shooting at their heads, so they all flee to take cover. After the explosions stop, Barry gets up and goes to investigate the corpse, after which he confirms that the wound is not caused by a bullet. Mike also joins him and confirms that it was the tracer which is installed in the back of every international worker's head. Realizing that they are in deep trouble, Mike quickly locks himself inside the toilet and tries retrieving the tracer with a knife. But right then, the voice on the intercom interrupts him by threatening to blow his head off in the next 10 seconds if he doesn't stop. Hearing this, Mike reluctantly obliges. Meanwhile, after busting through the object hung on the wall, the staff members find that there are cameras everywhere inside the building. Down at the basement, where Danny is hiding, Bud and Lonnie go to fix the air conditioner. Bud is having a look at the AC fans when the voice on the intercom resumes. It says the game is real, and that no one should destroy the cameras or plug out the tags from their heads. The voice further orders the staff members to eliminate 30 people among them in the next 2 hours. Otherwise, 60 more workers will have to perish with their heads exploding. Hearing this, everyone freaks out as soon as the voice stops. Wendell and some coworkers collect knives from the cafeteria, while others flee to a quiet place to hide. In the basement, Bud tries to calm Lonnie, but to his surprise, the latter hits him on the head, eliminating him instantly. Lonnie then spots Danny in her hiding spot and rushes to take her out. However, she fights back and manages to kill him instead by pushing him against a pillar. Up in the hall, Barry, Wendell and Terry are considering the killing option, while every other person in the room refuses it. So Leandra comes up with an alternate idea of hanging banners from the rooftop to set them up. Leandra and Mike collect things like paints, rope and duct tape and head to the elevator. While going upstairs, Mike, Leandra, and even intersect Barry and his group, melting the locks of the armory. Scared that they will be punished, Mike requests that they stop, but the bad guys continue torching the armory locks. Enraged, Mike pulls out a gun, shoots at the gas tank, and then heads towards the rooftop with his group. In the next scene, the stoner Marty empties every single jar of drinking water inside the office building, thinking that his fellow coworkers are hallucinating because of it. Mike, they're putting LSD in the water. Scoop back at the rooftop. Mike and a friend are trying to hang a banner that reads, "We are being held hostage." However, the armed guards on the ground start shooting at them, forcing the group to retreat down at the stairs. Mike tells Leander that he thinks the whole situation is a human experiment. Someone is trying to extort some sort of information from them. Just then, Barry arrives there and knocks Mike out with a blow to the head. Wendell then points a knife at Even and asks for the keys to the armory, but the latter denies. He instead throws them away, and because of this, an angry Wendell stabs him to death. After retrieving the keys, Barry opens up the armory and distributes various pistols to his group members. The armed group then forces all the coworkers back to the lobby. Later, Barry categorizes everyone into different groups to weed out workers that can be eliminated. He mostly picks the old and the diseased ones. However, the number of expendable people is still very low. They are running out of time. It is only 20 minutes from the deadline left. With no options, Barry decides to manually pick the targets and starts shooting at their heads. Mike is also one of the targets when Terry is about to fire at him. Suddenly, Danny pulls off the electric command switch and everyone, including Mike, flees to find cover. The voice on the intercom then announces that only 29 people are dead and just 2 minutes are remaining. There should be one more elimination in the next 120 seconds, otherwise 30 more will perish. In the meantime, Leandra is being followed by Terry, but she manages to hide under a table. She tricks him with her shoes and then attacks him from behind, injuring him badly. Terry lies down on the floor, pleading for mercy, and despite all that he has done, Leandra lets him go. Soon the time is up, but the workers are one body short, and the task is not completed. As a consequence, as previously mentioned, the voice explodes the heads of 31 more people, including Terry. The voice on the intercom tells that the rule of the last stage is simple. The one with the maximum number of eliminations in the next hour is allowed to live. At this point, Barry has the most eliminations with 11, followed by Wendell with 7. Danny and her friend climb on top of the elevator to hide, but Barry steps inside and dials for the 7th floor. There is a metal railing just above the 7th floor, and to avoid being crushed, Danny jumps off the elevator top to a side beam. Unfortunately, her friend cannot make it on time, and as a result, he gets crushed. This stops the elevator, trapping Barry inside. Down in the cafeteria on the 1st floor, Leandra finds Marty and his friend Chat digging out the unexploded bombs from the dead people's heads. They are planning to use the bombs to make a hole through the metal shield so that they can escape. Later, Leandra reaches for the intercom microphone and calls out for Mike, asking him to come get her. On the first floor, up in the elevator, Barry breaks the handlebar and eventually cranks the lift door open. Meanwhile, as Leander is trying to drink some water, she notices Wendell dragging and butchering a corpse. Terrified, Marty and Chet join her, and the three try to overpower him together. Unfortunately, despite being injured, the ferocious Wendell finishes off Chet and Marty, and then goes after Leandra. But before he can kill her as well, she cleverly pushes a table against him, and then ends him with an axe. In the next scene, Mike and Leandra find each other in the lobby and breathe a sigh of relief. Meanwhile, Danny hangs onto the other side of the elevator to get out from the floor, and at the same time, Barry gets out from the lift with the help of the handlebar. Down in the basement, a man is making a Molotov cocktail from generator fuel and some glass bottles. Leander shows Mike the bombs taken out from the deceased heads, which he puts in his pocket. Suddenly, the man from the basement throws a Molotov cocktail at a woman, burning her alive. He also slings it towards Mike and Leandra, but misses by inches. Just then, Barry arrives and shoots the Molotov guy dead. He also manages to injure Leandra. At the same time, Danny slips inside the elevator and heads down to the ground floor. But as soon as the lift door opens, Barry finishes her off with a single shot, leaving only 3 people: Barry, Mike, and Leandra. The couple hides inside a closet and has a brief chat where Mike assures her that they will get out of the place safely.